Yo, what's up, lads? You with Budget Monk, and welcome to a new video. I recently did an epic run where I converted the whole world to Norse religion and culture, and I wanted to give you guys some advice on how you can reduce the RNG involved to flipping Norse. And basically, what we're going to do is this is my best tip to flipping Norse, guys. If you begin the game as either Denmark or Gotland, you have the ability to just simply introduce an heir to check if you have the appropriate stats and then start again if you do not. And a lot of people are going to think, oh, this is really lame. What are the chances? They're so low. Well, basically, this is just a quick tip to to show you case to you that in fact the chances may not be as low as you think. So whether you start as Gotland or Denmark, you are going to have to form Denmark as Gotland in order to achieve this, which I recommend doing anyway. And let's talk about the downsides, guys. If you introduce an heir, you're going to lose your dynasty. That is a downside potentially from a Danish perspective, because primarily you share dynasty with the Palatinate and the Bavarian monarchs here, meaning potentially you can get some little juicy personal union action, and you also have increased likelihood that due to them making diplomacy, your dynasty will actually spread as opposed to a random dynasty. Otherwise, I did make a Gotland guide recently, and Gotland actually benefits as one of their missions changes from losing their dynasty. They actually benefit from that, so it is just objectively better. Other things to consider is that this event, this is what we're looking at, a wave of curiosity, which has, if you set it up nicely, it has a 50-year mean time to happen, and you don't have that much longer than 50 years window of opportunity before the age of reformation happens. You know, there's always RNG involved, but you guys would agree in most cases it's going to be about 60, 70, maybe 75 years. So you want to fulfill the requirements as quickly as possible, and introducing an heir actually, because the idea is that the heir already exists, right? They weren't born at that moment. They're always like at least 3 years old. So they're actually going to be older, which means it's easier to have a more fast, quick transition to get them onto the throne. Now, with that being said, one of the requirements is to have at least 5 points in each category. So if you open up and close the game and then you roll air like this, boom, no way. And this is exactly what I wanted to showcase. So this is just perfect. This is the first time I've recorded this. I was going to show you regardless of what stats we rolled. Now, a lot of people are going to say 553. Well, this does not fulfill the requirements. Notice that he's 7 years old. Well, in actuality, it can fulfill the requirements if we look at the Danish missions, which I reiterate, Gotland should form Daneland, the Denmark, whatever they're called, to fulfill the requirements. Notice here that we have the ability to increase our military points by +2. So in order to do this, you basically just need to improve relations with Sweden, etc., blah, 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 and you get +2 to mil. That would bring the 3 in mil up above 5. And then meanwhile, when you eliminate Novgorod, very straightforward, guys, very straightforward missions. It's just force limit, have 12 galleys, boom, gives you claims on Estonia, Livonian Order region here. And when you obtain that, gives you permanent claims on Novgorod. And when you obtain those provinces, do you see just these three? Fairly easy. You get +1 to all monarch points. So pretty straightforward. If you're playing Gotland or Denmark, you can hopefully obtain diplomacy with the PLC, and you should, between the two of you, make pretty short work of Novgorod or Muscovy, as Muscovy is not well known for their diplomacy. And yeah, all you need to do is wait till this guy is basically on the throne, and then you can buff him by, in this case, 1 to all, which would make him a 554, and buff him here, make him a 556, and therefore making him viable for the conditions, the trigger conditions of this event. If my math is correct, there is 43, I think, different potential roles for an heir to have, and that means that a 555 is, it's about 2% likely that you could roll that. But then you also have the ability to roll a 5-5-6, a 5-6-6, a 6-5-5, a 6-6-5, etc. And when you consider that you can then roll a 4-4-4 and a 4-5, etc., blah, 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 all of the fours, and then all of the fours while lacking more military points, it increases the likelihood, and it becomes quite likely that if you're open and closing the game, I would estimate about 20% likelihood that if your heir does not have the appropriate stats, you can actually build them up to having the appropriate stats by passing these missions. Now, as far as advice, looking at the requirements, you can see that you require the appropriate culture, which we have. You need to own this province, and this can be a little bit problematic. Luckily, Denmark does have the government type, guys, which allows them one of these, down here, it's this one. You get the event, which changes your government type to an upgraded superior government type, which allows you to annex personal unions within 10 years of them being under your control instead of the 50 years. And in the case of Gotland, you even have the ability to take this province when you are fighting the Scandinavians, and then you form Denmark, but you actually have this province. So that's one of the more annoying ones to fulfill. But as far as passing this here, they declare the statute restraint of appeals. You can do that instead of being excommunicated, and you simply need to insult the Pope to get your relations low, pass this, and otherwise it's pretty much just hoping you get lucky and you get the chain event where you become Norse, but you can increase the likelihood from 100 years to 50 years mean time to happen, which is much more achievable by either taking religious ideas which might fit into your run. If you're anything like me, you want to deus vult the world because you're trying to convert the world to Norse, or alternatively, if you are excommunicated. So the Pope is always going to hate you. My advice is just make sure to offend whoever gets elected Curry controller by also insulting them and getting your relations below zero, and they should excommunicate you. That's if you're dodging the religious ideas. So I thought I'd just give you guys that tip. I hope you enjoyed this quick video giving you guys some advice, and I hope to see you guys next time.